Thank you, Digital Empowerment Foundation, for having me here and for giving me this opportunity. I confess this is my first Social Media Empowerment Awards, and I don't know if I'm as nervous as the winners and the nominees, but it certainly is an audience that's quite, intimidating, mainly because I know I'm standing among some of probably the best brains in the media world and also in the social media world. And having said that, these awards are, I'm sure, a recognition of what is the power of the social media, not only as we understand it in terms of bringing together large people, large organizations, in allowing them to disseminate, to engage with larger communities, larger like interest, like-minded people, but also, and probably here's where the most important aspect of the social media comes in, giving those little voices that are, kind of almost muted, but which are crying out there in all parts of the world to be heard, to find like-minded voices which are in their turn muted or unheard, and also to at some point of time add these small drops together, all these unheard or unheard and voiceless voices trying to speak to each other, and then have an explosion of those voices in a manner which produces a deafening kind of a sound, where the mainstream media can really no longer pretend that those voices don't exist. And it is a testimony to many of our mainstream media stories today that some of them have their origin in these kind of muted voices trying to break out through their silences and saying, here we exist. Whether it is in the entertainment world, the Gangnam Style is a prime example that comes to mind, which kind of took the world by storm, or our own Kolavari D, which were all in terms of, an entertainment, feel-good kind of a use of the media, to those voices which, whether it is farmers' suicides, whether it is any other kind of an issue, which probably don't make stories in the headlines of the next day's newspaper or in the 9 o'clock news of our TV channels. But somehow, after a week, you find the discourse has changed. The discourse has changed not because somebody went out to look for those stories, but because those stories were crying out to be heard. There was probably one small guy out there who made the first effort to say, I'm here to speak. And there were 10 other voices that took it up. And probably amongst those 10 other voices was one voice or one ear which heard it loud enough to say, here there's a story. And here probably the mainstream media comes in. And therefore you then have a whole media working overtime to get that story out and saying that here it is. And these are the stories that really matter to those who are living their lives, their ordinary lives in a manner where empowerment needs to seep in, where we need to say that, okay, these voices are what are the voices that matter. And I think these social media awards are probably looking towards those voices to say that they are not to be muted, but to be more amplified, but to be thrown out to the world in a manner where everyone hears them. Therefore, congratulations to the Digital Empowerment Foundation for having instituted these awards, for having seen them through for the third time this year, and wish you all the best in doing it, bringing out those voices to the mainstream, challenging those stories that we keep hearing because they are story-worthy, but also because these stories are coming out from those who matter the most in the making of this great nation of ours. Thank you again for giving me this opportunity.